Do you want to know how to leverage your way to increase profits? Well, stay tuned because that is what we are covering in today's video. My name is Una Doyle. I'm the founder of Creative Flow and I'm a business strategist and coach. And I want to share with you some ideas on how you can increase your profits, increase your results, feel better, just have less stress and be able to run a better business, basically. And I'm going to do this as part of a video series, and this is number one in that series. So there are two key ways that you can leverage your business. In fact, let's just have a look at how do you actually make your business more profitable. So if we have here, so we can look and we can kind of say, okay, well, here's this quadrant here, and let's have a look. There's two key ways that you can leverage your business. Now, first of all, we need to understand, well, how do you actually get to grow your business? Well, there's two key ways to do that as well. So one of those is actually through innovation, and the other is through timing and service. Okay. So if you think about it, if you want to increase sales, then that is typically what you want to do in order to do that. Okay, so you want to increase sales, you want to increase your revenues, then typically you're going to have you're going to innovate what you're doing, you're going to have a new offer, a new product, or maybe you're going to improve your customer service, you're going to get better reviews, you're going to look at what happens when and where does it happen. Those are those kinds of things as well. Now, in terms of leveraging your business for more profit, that means things need to go more smoothly, right? And there's two areas that you want to look at for that. So one of those is over here on the left, and that is where we're looking at systems. Okay, and over here on the right, we're looking at people. Now, the interesting thing is that it's people who create systems. So even when you're looking at systemizing your operations, adding processes, making things, automations, AI, making things run more smoothly, you can't lose sight of the people side of things either. So it's absolutely critical that, the people that you have on board are actually operating effectively. And when it comes to the systems, you need to make sure you've got the Goldilocks amount of systems for your size of business, right? As you're growing, then the amount of structure, the amount of systems and processes that you need grows. And sometimes, sometimes people will look at a business like McDonald's and say, that's what I want my business to be. That, everything goes absolutely by clockwork. And there are different entrepreneurial types, and you can certainly have a business that goes like that. For a lot of service-based businesses, though, the value of their people cannot be underestimated. And it's important that you're not, there's a balance between kind of having, I don't know, not having the kind of personality and skills in your business. Like if you've got a high value service that you're offering, then you want to have people who are able to think for themselves and understand how to do that within the parameters that they're given, as opposed to they literally are going step by step through a process and they've no idea what to do if anything happens outside of that. Okay, so there's quite often the pain points that people have, is in the people side of things, where their team members have got a lack of ownership and accountability. Maybe there's poor performance. I mean, you might have issues where you're thinking, well, I can't afford to have better staff, or I've got some great staff. However, they're not operating the way that they ought to be. They're in silos, and kind of politics and a bit of an infight is happening, and people aren't pulling together in the way that they could be. And that if they did, oh my gosh, you would be unstoppable. And that is what you're really looking for. So there's three solutions to this. Okay, so so one of these is to have more money, because if you have more money, then that allows you to be able to hire better staff. It allows you to be able to train those staff. It allows you to be able to invest in your business, to invest in systems, things like that. The second area is leadership. And your personal leadership, that of any managers in your business, has a massive impact on the performance of your team members. I don't know if you've ever heard the statistics that 70% of people leave a manager, not the business. What that means is, people might love their job and they might really like the business, but if the person who's managing them isn't doing a great job, they will leave given the opportunity. So it's really important to be able to look at the leadership and making sure that this is really effective. And then the third aspect that can help with this is flow. So you might wonder, well, okay, what is flow? You know those times when you're just totally on it, when you're unstoppable, you have momentum, where you're enjoying what you do, you're adding value, you're working within your natural strengths and personality. That is flow. And it's really interesting. So a chap called Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, he wrote a book called Creativity and Flow. He actually did a massive amount of research into this, and he interviewed people all around the world. They were, sorry, I just put my tablet down. People who were Nobel Prize laureates, who were top of their fields in industry, in sports, in the arts, like sciences, all different kinds of domains. And he wanted to find out, well, what is it that makes these people successful? And they had one thing in common, just one thing. They did what they did for the sheer joy of doing it, because they were in flow. They wanted that feeling of being in flow. And if you think about it, if you knew how to consciously create more flow in your life, in your business, wouldn't you want to do it? What about your team members? Like, how in flow are they? This is something else to take into account. And it's, when you're in flow, and I use a personality profiling tool to help with this, help people to identify this, and we apply it in brilliant ways. This is not a kind of navel gazing tool, okay? This is not just about self awareness. It's about looking at this to identify for people, where do they sit? Where is most in flow for them? And for business owners, we can apply this in terms of the business model, growth strategies, as well as what people are doing and when they are doing it. And this can have a massive, massive impact on their productivity, on their stress levels. I mean, you cannot be stressed and in flow in the same moment. Our brains, they just do not operate that way, which is amazing. There's so many benefits to being in flow. And one of the key ones is that it helps you to be more profitable. You can have a business, like even a business would say like 7 or 8 people can implement flow in their business, and as long as they're working on the right things, like they can massively speed up the workflow, increase productivity, and create extra capacity without having to hire extra staff. Wouldn't that be amazing? Or maybe you discover, actually we have a gap here. Maybe in terms of where our business sits, we're looking at sorry, looking at the wrong one there. We're looking at maybe there's a gap over here and that's affecting sales. Maybe there's a gap over here and that is affecting the systems and processes in the business and how they're all put together. So it's really important that you understand how to be able to maximize what you already have to leverage it. And the thing is, people create systems and processes. So whether that's an external consultant or it's a staff member, somebody has to create and improve your systems and processes. So at the end of the day, it does kind of come down to people, doesn't it? So how do you actually look at your team member performance? Maybe you've got somebody on your team or teams that isn't performing as well as they could be. Maybe there's whole teams that there's a lot more potential here. I know more could be achieved. How do I know what to do about this? So there's let's just have a look again here, okay? And we've got, when we look at a person's performance, we want to consider some different criteria, okay? Um, so you've got their capability. So let's pop this up here, okay? So this is the capability access. And then over here, this is their ownership. Now, what I mean by that is, like, the ownership really leads to performance because it's about, imagine they've run out of work. I know that might be hard to think of these days, but imagine someone had run out of things to do. Do they just sit there, or do they go to a coworker or their manager and go, "What do you want me to do next? I've done next. I've done these other things. I'm finished now. What do you want me to do next?" Or maybe someone has got too many things to do, and they're just going, "No, no, 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 no. Can't do this. Can't do that. Can't do the other." But are they actually taking ownership of prioritizing their workload and maybe seeking help when they need to? So there's all sorts of things that kind of feed into that. So when we look at capability, so up here at the top, it is high. And down here, okay, it's low. So if you've got someone that they're not taking ownership and they've got low capability in their role, then that's somebody who I would call them a vampire. Okay, so why a vampire? Because they absolutely suck your time, your energy, and your profits from you, right? So I want you to think about your team members in turn and plot them onto this quadrant, right? Now, so if you got someone who actually has got high capability, but they're not really taking ownership, they tend to they'll do what they need to do and really not anymore. That's what I would call a plodder. And it's not that a plodder can be bad in your business. They will get things done. However, you kind of need to keep on top of them because they're just not going to be really taking the initiative and making things work for you. So what if we've got low ownership, low capability and high ownership? Somebody who is keen, right? They want to kind of make things work better. They want to do better. They're prepared to learn, but they're just not there yet in terms of what they're able to actually offer. Well, I would call that person the rookie. Okay, the great thing about the rookie is that they can grow, they can become an amazing team player, an amazing person in your business that's really adding to your results and your profits. And that is what you want people to be. Okay, this is where we have the star performers. Okay, so the rookies can become the star performers. The vampires, generally speaking, unless they're in the wrong role and you can move them to a great role where they actually get excited and they want to take ownership, a lot of the time that isn't going to happen. So you need to have a conversation with yourself and then a conversation with them about, what are expectations? Are they being held accountable? All these kinds of things. With the plodder, can a plodder become a star performer? They can. However, it takes a process of looking at, a few different things. Okay, so what are those things that we need to look at? Well, you've got things like, what is the role in person fit? Okay, so is that a yay or a nay? What about the leadership? So we talked about that and the difference that can make. How in flow are they? Someone could be in a role that suits them, but maybe the way that they're doing the role doesn't actually help them to be in flow. And then you've got other things like, their mindset. Is a lack of confidence? Are some personal issues getting in the way? And what's their overall attitude? Do they? I'm not saying people should live to work. However, are they just living for the weekend and can't wait to get out of there and they just want to earn a few quid and pay their bills, and they're just not interested in what is actually going on. So these are all the different kinds of things that play a part in what you're doing. So you can see that kind of the leadership and the flow really play a big part in what's going on here. Now there's a lot of other things, and I'm going to cover these over the next few weeks. So if you're not already, make sure that you're following and that you sign up to come and watch these. And I'd love to know what you think as well. So do please let me know. It is key to understand that important as flow is, it isn't enough. And it's not just about the person's direct manager. It's about the culture and the leadership of the organization as a whole and how that impacts them. And we're going to talk about some of that in the coming weeks. And obviously, of course, as a business, you've got to be doing the right things, the things that are going to help you to grow as well. And we're going to talk more about that in the next video. So I look forward to seeing you then. Send me a message if you would like to talk any more about any of this.